This is Jerod Lakefield, a novel by Don Fensler, part 16. Danny was clearly fucking confused. I was clearly fucking confused. This was the second time in just a few days I was with Jerod Lakefield and found myself in a dicey situation. Was Jerod Lakefield some kind of fucking jinx or something? Last time Jerod obviously wanted a peaceful ending, but this time he didn't seem to care. "I'll kick your ass, you goddamn peckerwood nigger lover," said Danny, regaining himself somewhat, but not sufficiently. "Come on, Danny, let us begin," said Jerod Lakefield. Shit, this was it. Danny swung suddenly. Jerod ducked and the punch missed. Jerod grabbed Danny by the scruff of the neck and seat of the pants and pulled him along, going with Danny's momentum. Danny crashed into a table and rolled to the floor. He got up quickly and charged Jerod. Jerod slipped to the side like a matador, like he was going for a fucking steal in a basketball game in one of his frenzies. There was nothing violent in what he did. His face was as calm as glass, calm as a mountain stream. Danny charged again, and Jerod did the same thing again, but this time grabbing Danny by the back of the shirt and directing and guiding Danny's head straight into the wall. There was a sickening thud. "Danny," Jerod Lakefield said sharply, but calmly at the same time, "it's just disturbing the peace right now." I have never heard Jerod raise his voice before. It had authority. You felt it in your chest. You listened. Danny was listening. He had lost his will to fight. Maybe his fucking will to live. Something about that move of Jerod took his breath away. It took my breath away. We were now in a different realm, for the first time away from the basketball court. Who was this man? By this time, the fat, ugly weeping wench at the cash register had called the police. It had all happened so fast that none of us had taken part in the action, either to protect Jerod or run or do any fucking thing at all. We were as active as the paint on the wall. We were fucking dumbfounded, silent. The other customers were silent. The moment was frozen. None of us moved. Our bodies and moods were frozen in that moment. Danny looked overwhelmed. Now he was weeping quietly, just like the lady at the cash register. He was done. He was done for. Fucking done for. Police. After about 5 minutes, the police came. I was worried that this cracker town was one of those towns that stood together against everything outside, but the cash register lady, the cash register lady would lie, but she didn't. Jerod was looking at her with those eyes of his. I can't describe it. The lady suddenly looked younger and more kindly. Something had happened. "Danny was at it again," said the lady. "These guys were just getting their food. You know how Danny is with colored people. Danny attacked that guy over there." She pointed at Jerod, but quickly put her hand down, as if it was rude to point at Jerod Lakefield. Danny did not protest. He was truly done for. He just wanted fucking out. "Please." "It is time to eat," said Jerod. "Let's get our food." He sounded so tired, so horribly tired. Why did all these things happen to us so close back to back? I felt punch drunk, weary as hell, but for some reason it was Jerod Lakefield I felt most sorry for. I felt so sad for him, to see him so sad and exhausted. I walked up to him and said, "Thank you, Jerod, for everything." I really had no fucking idea what I was thinking or talking about at that moment, but I wanted to thank Jerod Lakefield. The police soon left. Danny left with friends. No charges were pressed. It all ended very quietly, but my heart was roaring and churning like Niagara Falls on steroids. Barton City College, the game. Our game against Barton City College was amazing, as of course all our games involving Jerod Lakefield were. The crowds were bigger than we expected. Coach said that word travels fast in a small town like Great Falls. They had undoubtedly heard about the incident Coach said word travels fast in a small town like Great Plains. They undoubtedly heard about the incident at the restaurant, the demise of the great Danny. I suspected they were happy about the demise of Danny, but not totally happy, because he was one of them, a strong figure. His strength, his role as a bully, made them feel stronger. This city was a fucking cracker barrel, if you'll pardon my Portuguese. Their job was to cheer in Barton City College, and more importantly, to jeer us. I saw them pointing, trying to figure out which player was Jerod Lakefield, though I doubt they knew his name. The game was secondary. The restaurant incident was foremost in their fucking minuscule, narrow minds. Ted Dow, another one of the assistant coaches, and I talked about the incident. We were just in awe of Jerod. Who was this guy? We asked each other. Who was this man? Jerod Lakefield was going through his usual warm-up, pretending like he was being covered by some fucking phantom defender, shooting at odd angles, swerving, going to his right around the phantom. It is interesting to note that Jerod starts off missing shot after shot in his pre-game shoot-around. He clangs it off the back of the basket, then off the front, and all of a sudden there's this magic moment when everything starts going in. Your eyes are drawn to it, and it is hard to stop watching it as the ball arches up and comes home. Through the goddamn rim and net, and Jerod usually grabs it before it hits the ground and takes it back to beyond the key and repeats the one-on game with the phantom, with himself. You get the feeling that the phantom, whoever and whatever it is the only one who deserves to be on the fucking court with him. Whether the Barton team knew that Jerod was the guy who toppled Danny, I do not know. But now they were watching Jerod. They were under his spell. The game started, as it often does, with us falling fucking behind and Jerod doing nothing except hanging around watching like a fucking gardener inspecting his tomatoes. He is out by the key. To the right, he is observing, watching the flow. He is not needed now. The man defending him is fucking disconcerted. Why am I covering this lazy bozo of a man who seemed to have just come to watch the game? The Barton player seemed to be thinking that. He is not a threat. I've heard about him. The coach told me about him. But a man who stands out 50 feet from the basket is no threat to Great Plains in the heart of America and the asshole of the universe. We, Great Plains, have to start hitting layups. Barton City College have to start hitting layups. We've missed 3 layups so far, so we're behind 21-15. This guy, this Jerod, is no threat after all. I'm not going to fucking worry about him. Or so those cracker motherfuckers think. I was still in a tizzy with heart palpitations and fucking menopausal hot flashes after our experience at the all-you-can-eat restaurant. Then suddenly Jerod gets the ball. He is 50 feet from the basket. His defender, Neil Johnson, gives him room. What can Jerod do from 50 feet? Johnson from Barton City gives Jerod a 7-foot cushion. Far too much for Jerod to pass up. Jerod dribbles the ball 2, 3, 4 times standing in the same spot. He holds the ball, looks around. Johnson has moved no closer, so he looks at the basket, and Jerod flings the ball up with his little hoppity jump shot. The ball hangs in the air for 24 fucking hours, it seemed, dangles in the air, fucking laughing at us all from afar, and softly, slowly, so softly and slowly falls through the rim of the basket. Calmly, slowly, but without hesitation. It falls through the net. The fucking Red Sea parts. The bush catches on fire, and the Jerod Lakefield show has started. Jerod Lakefield falls back on defense, calm as a man going back to his seat at a movie house.